Hello, I am here to talk to you about why using Canvas as a gradebook is amazing. I love it. I love using Canvas for everything as much as I possibly can. I rarely even enter grades into PowerSchool. Canvas is where I put everything for every course. So what I want to show you in this Tech Fest session is how to really use Canvas as much as you can for all of your grading, even if it's a paper assignment or a presentation that they're giving in class, that students give in class. It's really an amazing tool to use, and we'll also practice syncing the grades from Canvas into PowerSchool so you don't have to touch PowerSchool ever. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that certain, like the grading groups, are set up from PowerSchool, and we need to import those into your Canvas courses. So these are my current courses for this semester. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the Honors English 9 course for all of these examples. So let's go into PowerSchool, and I'm going to open up the grades, the gradebook assignments in PowerSchool. This is something that you are going to need to do for each of your courses. So I have 4 courses for the school year, for the semester. And this is something I would do at the beginning of each semester. You would have to go into PowerSchool and do this for all of your courses. But then once it's done, it's done. You don't have to do it again. Because I already did all of this at the beginning of the semester, we'll see how this works out. But the first thing you would do is go up here to, so again, this is my Honors English 9. I'm going to create, and then I want to look at the categories. Once you come into these categories, if you go to View All, this shows you all of the different types of assignment categories that PowerSchool has already created for us. So the defaults, there were 4 initially: classwork, project, quiz, and test. Those are the 4 categories that most likely you all have in your PowerSchool gradebook done for you. These are ones that I added, so you can do that. You can go to category and select which courses. You could just click which courses you would like to add those to. And then you would give it a category name here. So maybe projects, or like I did vocabulary, accelerated reader, labs, whatever it is you want. That category name would go here. You would assign it a color, and then it would be active. And then you would hit save. I'm not making any new categories, and I did not make any categories this year. Those were all, I may have done them in the fall, but for this semester, I didn't make any new categories. And you don't have to make new categories. You can just keep the 4 that PowerSchool has for us already, and that will be perfectly fine. So once you see whatever categories are here, you're good to go. So you would hit save. I'm not going to hit save because I didn't make any changes, so I'm just going to close it. Okay, so once that's done, you go into Canvas, jumping back to Canvas, and open up one of your courses. So I was in the Honors English 9, so I'm going to open that one, that course, and go over to your options for assignments. We click on assignments. Okay, these 3 dots here, we'll click on that. And we have to import assignment groups. That's what we're doing. We're importing assignment groups. Okay, I already did this. I requested that one be scheduled. So it says, success. We have received your request to import assignment categories. Click to see progress. So I'm going to click progress, and it's waiting. So it's there. So that's all you have to do. This takes a few minutes, not a lot of time, but I would say it probably takes anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes for this to sync. what it's doing is it's taking the categories from PowerSchool. So again, we go here to categories, view all. It's taking all of these categories, okay, that we either have just kept from what was originally in PowerSchool or any categories that you added. It's taking these categories and syncing them or sending them to your Canvas course. And again, you can refresh to see how it's going. And it's still waiting. Okay. Once it's done, so once these categories have been synced to Canvas, it'll show, you can see it'll say completed. So I'm going back to my assignments. Once it's completed, you will see all of these categories here. So I'm going to jump back to my PowerSchool just to show you which one synced. So one says test, so there should be a test, quiz, project, classwork. Those were the 4 that were default. So let's see, we have test, project, classwork, and quiz. Okay, then I added AR, vocabulary, and some others. So then we have AR, essay, vocabulary, journal. Yep, AR, essay, vocabulary, journal. So all of my categories have been synced with Canvas. And the way I know that these categories synced with Canvas is because we have a little sheet of paper here with an arrow. So this shows me the category name, and it shows that it is now syncing with Canvas. So PowerSchool and Canvas are communicating with each other. So all of these have the sheet of paper with the arrow, all of these categories. So that means everything is talking to each other and you are set. Now that our assignment categories are talking to each other in both Canvas and PowerSchool, it's time to make sure that our grades in Canvas are syncing nightly to PowerSchool. To do that, you go into your course. Again, you'll need to do this for each course in Canvas, but just like setting up the assignment categories, you only have to do it one time a semester. So let's go into Honors English 9 and scroll down to the grade sync option. Here, you'll see a history here of every time I have, I have all my grade syncs to go daily. So you'll see that they've been posted. Some of them I do push through more than one time a day, but all of these at least go through one time a day. If you click settings, I've already checked the nightly sync, but yours most likely will be grayed out like this. All you have to do is activate that to nightly sync. That's it. That's all. It's super simple. That's all you need to do. And it syncs. Let's see if it tells us what time. It looks like it syncs nightly or each morning around 2 a.m. So all of these timestamps that show a 2 a.m. sync, those are the automatic ones that will sync from Canvas to PowerSchool by themselves. You can also request at any point during the day to have a manual sync. And I'll show you how to do that later. If there's some grades that you put in Canvas that you want to go immediately to PowerSchool, you don't want to wait till 2 a.m., you can request an immediate sync from Canvas to PowerSchool, and then it just takes probably 5 minutes for that to happen. It's really easy. Now that we have our grades syncing from Canvas to PowerSchool, and we've checked that it is set up for a nightly sync, it's time to start entering grades. The way I like to enter grades in Canvas is to create modules within a course, and then within those modules create assignments or quizzes. So let's open up our course that we're going to practice with and come over to modules. I already have several modules established for this course. I like to break up the modules depending on the current unit or book or play that we are reading. So that's why I have one with Romeo and Juliet. I have a final exam. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I have one for literary terms, MLA and AP study strategies, AR, vocab. So you can set up your modules however you'd like. Maybe if you're a math teacher, you want to set up the module based on chapters in the book, or history teacher, maybe by decades or time periods. So it really depends on how you want to set up your modules. However works for you will be perfect. For this demonstration, I will show you how to set up a module, and then I'm going to actually work within a current module that I already have. So to set up a new module, you just click plus module, give it a name. So I'm just going to call this sample module add, and it defaults to the bottom. So there it is. Notice any new module you create will not be published, which is good because then you can add assignments to it without students seeing anything. You can play around with it, get it exactly how you want it before you publish it. So then all you would do is click this plus symbol, and you would either add assignments, quizzes, files, pages, discussions, anything you'd like from this section. I already have several assignments stored within Canvas, so that's what all of these are. These are ones that I previously had for this course. So if you don't have any assignments stored in Canvas, this will all be blank, and then you'll just do create assignment. But I'm going to exit out of this and work from a module that I have already. So currently, freshmen, we're doing Romeo and Juliet. So this is our published module. This one is published, it's green. There are assignments in here that are published and some that have not been published yet, either because I didn't use them this year. You can see these dates were from 2020, or I just decided not to use whatever I put in here, but most of these are published. So let's add an assignment to this module. Just click plus. I am going to create an assignment that I just collected. It was Act 2. We'll just call it Act 2. And I think it adds it to the bottom. Yep, right there. And no, it's not published right away, which is good. So if I click on the assignment, I will edit the assignment. So you'll do this for every assignment that you add. You will not add these to PowerSchool. This is where you'll work from. Okay, this was a handout that I gave them. So all I will say in the directions for this assignment is refer to the worksheet given in class last week. You could type whatever you wanted to there. You could even insert the worksheet if you wanted to. Maybe you have kids who are virtual or quarantined or just absent and you want them to see the worksheet, you could add that link here. So progressing on down, we're going to give it a point value. It's 10 points. We're going to change our assignment group. It was not a test, it was classwork. The submission type was on paper, and we want it to sync to PowerSchool. This default, it says assigned to everyone. In this case, it was assigned to everyone, so I'll keep it everyone. However, if this were a quiz and you wanted to assign it to your one section for a certain time period and then another section for a different time period, I'll show you how to do that later. So we'll just say everyone. It was due last week. So let me think. We'll pretend. We'll say it was due on May 12th. I can't remember exactly, but it was on paper. It's been collected. So we'll just say it was due May 12th. And because it was on paper, I'm going to leave these blank because there's no reason to lock it because it was a paper submission. And then you just click Save and Publish when you're ready to go. And if I go back to the modules, it should be there. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom. Yep, Act 2, due May 12th, 10 points. It is published. The students and parents, anyone who follows your Canvas course can now see that. There was an assignment. It will actually show up on your calendar for Act 2, due on May 12th. And then you can start grading it. There's two ways to grade this. you can either click on it, click on the assignment, and do speed grader, which I find this difficult for paper assignments that I collect, and here's why. For speed grader, there's no actual virtual submission, so students aren't going to submit anything virtually. You have the papers in hand. So this right here, this assessment grade, is where you would type in the grade, but you can't see all your students at once. You have to page through them or click on this and scroll through and find the kids. I find this difficult for paper assignments. It just takes too much time. So when I collect a paper assignment, the way I do it is I go over here in the top left-hand corner to Gradebook. Click on Gradebook. And you can toggle or select the course section you want. So we'll go with third period. And I'm going to scroll. I'm going to scroll to find the assignment that I just added for Act 2. Right here. Act 2 out of 10. So this is all of my students in my third period in alphabetical order, just like it would be in PowerSchool. So now as I'm going through the stack of papers, I can go through, enter, kind of scroll through here, and enter each score as I come across them in the stack. That's how that would work. So when I get a paper assignment, I like to go to the actual gradebook in Canvas and enter them that way. That's all you need to do. You don't have to sync it to PowerSchool. It will sync by itself at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's it. You don't even have to touch PowerSchool. So the next thing we're going to look at is how to grade things in Canvas that students submit virtually. To create an assignment in Canvas where students will submit virtually, it's very similar to what you just did. I'm going to start with my course module. And I have several already set up in the Romeo and Juliet unit that we're working on right now. So if we're working out of that unit, I would just click create an assignment, and we'll create a fake one for now because I want to show you ones that have already been turned in. So I'm just going to put sample essay and add. Okay. So here's our assignment. It's unpublished because we haven't added any details yet. Edit details. Let's pretend this essay is a comparison essay to another piece of literature from earlier in the semester. So let's type compare Romeo and Juliet to a different, to a previously read novel from earlier in the school year. Okay. You would type whatever information you wanted them to have about the assignment there. You could even upload a PDF with directions. You could add a URL. You could add all kinds of information in this box that you want them to have about the assignment. Okay, let's make this out of 100 points, and then it will be classwork, an online submission, because I want them to type this in a Google Doc and upload it. So you need to make sure it's online, file upload, and I like to always check enable Turnitin submissions for anything that students upload, whether it's a worksheet, an essay, whatever it is, short answers, just because it will help with any type of plagiarism. I will keep it with unlimited attempts for this. Not a group assignment, no peer reviews, yes, sync to PowerSchool. This will be assigned to everyone again, and let's have it due on Monday. And I'm going to lock it on Monday, because I don't want any submissions after Monday. Once I have all that, we would save and publish. I'm not going to save and publish this because if my freshmen see this pop up, they will be worried that they're not turning in something. So you typically would save and publish this, and then that would add it to your module. At that point, I'm just going to do save. Okay, so this is saved, it's not published yet. Then we can add a rubric. So if you are assigning a project that has a rubric that you've already created in Canvas, all of your rubrics are stored here from all of your courses. If you want to add a rubric to Canvas, this is where you would do it also. So you can add rubric. If you don't have a rubric already stored for this project, you could create the rubric here you would add criterion here for the project. So this can be edited. You can type whatever description you want. You can change the point values here. So maybe you want this worth 1 point. Excellent. Update. And then you could even change your rating description. So if you wanted to have more details for the full 10 points of this category, you would do that. And then you can add another rating. So maybe the next point down would be, it would just be good, and you would add more rating descriptions there. Maybe you want a 6, and we could call this fair. And then maybe the last one would be 0. Failing. And then you could add another criterion. So maybe I want this one to be comparison to other work. Create, and then I would have my 10 points would be excellent, update, and so forth. And you could keep adding until you have all of your criterion here, all of your ratings here, and then these total points would need to equal however many points you had the assignment worth. So and then you could change this. So maybe you want to call this, I'm going to call this R&J essay. Okay. Once you have all of this rubric complete, you would then create the rubric, and then that rubric would be stored. I already have several rubrics stored. So I'm just going to go and find, and I like this because it searches all of the rubrics you have from every class or course you've created. So let's see. I'm going to use this one just for demonstration because this one is 100 points. It's not really comparison, it's more on literary analysis, but that's okay. So you have a rubric attached to it. Once it's good to go, you would publish it. Okay, then students would see it. They would be able to start uploading their essays to that Canvas spot, starting anytime from now until you have it locked. If you don't lock it, it's still going to show a due date. So they still have a due date of, in this case, May 24th, 11:59 p.m. If there is no lock date here, they can submit after that time, but it will show up as late in your Canvas course. And then you would either deduct points or whatever your late work policy is. Okay, to then grade those. So once students start submitting their file uploads to Canvas, you have this to-do list. So these are all of the assignments, essays, quizzes that you'll see that you have to grade. If you have a quiz that is automatically graded, maybe it's a vocab quiz, those will not show up on your to-do list. These are just assignments that you need to have some sort of attention to. Let's look in, and this is not freshmen, but we'll just look at some examples here. For the research papers for seniors, they have, I want to show you guys these because these actually do have rubrics. So let's find one that has been checked already. Okay, so this essay has been uploaded to Canvas. This one has a rubric. So you can see here the rubric has been scored, and then it has a total points at the bottom, and then you would just take those points and add them here. If we find an essay that hasn't been scored yet, let's see. So here's a student essay that has been uploaded, has not been scored, so there's no assessment value. The rubric is not visible. You would just simply click View Rubric, and then as I grade or as I read through this paper and scroll through, I then would find the rubric categories and just click whatever it is I feel would be appropriate as I grade. Canvas also has the ability in these submissions where this toolbar at the top, there is a highlight tool where you can highlight any text that you'd like. You can even change the highlight color to whatever it is. And then you can add a comment for the student to see. The other option that I like to use is this point annotation, where you can put a little pinpoint on any part of the essay that you would like to comment. So let's see, maybe like that. And again, you can change the color of those pinpoints as well. Maybe you have different colors for different things throughout the essay. There's other options. You can zoom, you need to zoom in, you can type text over things if you want to. I don't usually use the free draw. These are the two that I use most, the point and the highlight annotation. I find those very useful. So as you read the assignment and then you score on the rubric, then you would save it. It would give you the total amount. You then need to go to the top of the rubric. Oops, I'm just going to enter some point values just so you can see. I'll have to go back and regrade this one. So this will not be the official grade of this paper. But you would save it and then enter the grade there and hit enter, and then it would score it. But I'm going to take those out because I don't want this student to think something is not what it is. So we're going to delete those scores for now. Okay, here we go. Once you do that, you don't have to enter anything else. You don't enter anything in PowerSchool. You don't enter anything in the Gradebook. All of those have been scored for you. And then as you scroll through, you'll see anything with the check mark has been graded. Anything with the dot is still pending. If you don't have a rubric, it's possible that you have assignments, if it's short answer or maybe just an essay without a rubric. That's completely fine too. So those types of assignments, it would still be created the same way. You just wouldn't add a rubric. So I do have some writing assignments in there. So these are essays, short essays, a couple of paragraphs that students have written that do not have a rubric. So notice there's no assessment rubric over here. All it is a point value. So you can completely have, a journal, short answer, even a quiz, really, without a rubric, an essay without a rubric. You just want a piece of writing. You can do that. You don't need to have a rubric attached to it, but you would still scroll through all of the students there's some students who haven't submitted anything. So if it says no submission, these are actually due by tonight. So that just means that there is no submission yet. They're not late. There's nothing in there. but the students who do have essays are there, and then you would read it and just give it a score. Same thing though, you can highlight anything that you would like to highlight. Oops. You can do a pen mark next to anything you'd like to, leave comments. It's the same process, and you don't have to save any of this. It all saves by itself. Students can then go back and access all of those comments that you submitted. So again, you would just put your score here, type whatever score. You can type comments for the students to see, and it's very helpful. It's super easy. I find it a lot easier than collecting essays and grading them that way. And you can delete. So if you maybe, oh, this isn't what I meant to do, you can hit the little trash can and delete the comments that you made. If you want to try to give a test or a quiz in Canvas, it's really wonderful. You don't have to run off copies of anything or hand out papers in class. You can do everything online. And with Dino, it makes it even better, because with Dino, you can make sure that everything is locked except Canvas, so students don't have the ability to cheat or switch between tabs. I love it. It's amazing. So I want to show you how to create a quiz in Canvas, or if you have quizzes already, how to just make them visible for students. So let's again start with, actually, so here I already have an Act 5 quiz in Canvas. Let's look at this one. This one is a quiz that is already published. However, it's locked. So I made this quiz available only Monday from 9:20 to 10:05 for my third period, and it's only available from 12:40 to 1:25 p.m. for my ninth period. They do have, there's no time limit on the quiz, but it does lock. It's only open during that class period because I want to monitor them while they're taking the quiz. So to edit this quiz, all I say in the directions is answer these questions after you read Act 5. It is graded. You do have other options of quizzes, but I always made them graded quizzes. The assignment group I added it to was tests. I want to sync it to PowerSchool, shuffle the answers. They do not get multiple attempts on this. You can have it show one question at a time. I don't like to do that because sometimes students like to see all of the questions and then come back and check their work. So I usually don't ever have it show one question at a time. You can require an access code, especially if you maybe just want to make sure, if you don't have a lock time on it or an open time and you just want them to have an access code to get to the test, then I use the access code option. And then instead of having it assigned to everyone, I did select each individual course. So my ninth period only has access to it during their class, and my third period only has access to it during their class. Once that is all set, then you would go to the question tab, and these already have questions, but if you didn't have questions, you would just start adding questions at the end. And I'll show you at the end, there is the option to add more questions. So you would just add new question. We'll make this one, 19. And then you have different types of questions. So there's multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple answers, multiple drop downs, matching. There's all kinds of different types of questions you could create. If it is multiple choice, you would type your question here. Let's see. And then you have your possible answers here. So for this one, there's only two. Romeo or Juliet would be the only two options. And the correct answer would be Romeo here. So we're going to trash these other two because there's only two options. You want to make sure if this were the correct answer, you would want to click that. But in this case, it would be Romeo did die first. And then you would update that, and then that would show up there. For all of these, if I wanted to go back, I can't remember. How does the prince know that the friar is telling the truth? I can't remember what answers I put. So you would have all of your answers here. And then that's true. Okay, yes, update. So all of these are multiple choice. All of these are multiple choice questions. So all of these will be automatically scored by Canvas. I don't have to grade any of them. They're all scored automatically. So when students take this test, once they submit their scores or their answers, this will not show up in my to-do list. So I'm going to hit save to save that last question. And then now it shows it's 19 points. So when I go back to my dashboard, after they take this quiz on Monday, I will not see it show up here because I don't have to actually grade any of it. All of those scores will automatically go into the Canvas gradebook, and then that will sync Tuesday morning to PowerSchool. After you have a few assignments or quizzes established in a Canvas course, it's always a good idea early on in the semester, before you assign too many things, to just double check and make sure your assignments or tests, quizzes are syncing to PowerSchool. So again, to do that, let's look back in our course to do 2 checks. The first is in assignments. So the 3 I'm going to double check right now are the ones I most recently looked at for this Tech Fest workshop. The Act 5 quiz, which I see right here. So Act 5 quiz is actually in a correct assignment group. So it's in the test group with the paper with the arrow. Remember, those are what we're looking for. So it is in that group, and this is good. So it's published, the green check mark, and then this check mark here is green, and it is syncing to PowerSchool. It's enabled. So that's what we want. That's good. That means it is actually talking to PowerSchool. So that's the first one. The other one was called Diversity and Literature. So let's scroll to see if I can find diversity. And these are alphabetized, which is nice. Can't remember what group I put that in. Oh, there it is. Diversity and Literature. Good. So it's check marked and it's syncing. So that's good. And it is in the correct assignment group. The other one was just called Sample Essay. It's right here. So this is the one that I made that I didn't want to publish because I thought it would terrify the freshmen if they saw they had an essay due on Monday night that I didn't tell them about. So this one is not published and it's not syncing at all. So let's see what happens if I go ahead and publish it. Okay, so let's go back to, I'm gonna click on it here because I think I have to select sync to PowerSchool. I didn't do that initially. I don't think. Oh, I did say sync to PowerSchool. Sync to PowerSchool. I'm just making sure everything looks good here. Okay, so save. Let's go back to assignments. I'm looking for sample essay. So, okay, there it is, yeah. So now it is syncing to PowerSchool. I will delete this because they will be terrified if they see that there's an essay due Monday night. But it is syncing to PowerSchool. It's all set. It's all set. So if you were to go to PowerSchool today, you would not see these in PowerSchool today. First of all, it's not 2 a.m., okay, so it's not syncing to 2 a.m. And right now, I don't have anyone who even has submitted anything yet, but mainly this is because it's not 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. the next day is when all of these new assignments would sync. What you could do is if you wanted to see them immediately, what you would do is go over to Grades, Actions, and Sync to SIS. Once you say Sync to SIS, you would click it. That would push through those new assignments to Power School, and it would take about 5 minutes, but then you could go into Power School and they would all be there for you. So maybe you had a student who turned in a late assignment and he or she was very upset about the zero, and you wanted to see what the score would be, or the class grade would be with that assignment turned in. You could enter it and then sync to SIS, and you would see it in Power School fairly quickly. So just to review, I'm going to do one more assignment in Canvas in the gradebook. I'm going to create one. Go to modules. This one I'll add to the Romeo and Juliet unit. I'm going to create the assignment, and we're going to call this Act 2, Scene 2. The terms. And this was a handout that I gave them, so they had this on paper. It's 10 points. Classwork points. This was on paper. Sync to Power School. It was assigned to everyone, and because it's a worksheet, I'm not going to worry about separating the two class periods. And for today, we'll just say it was due last Monday. And we're going to save and publish. All right. Because they are worksheets, I'm not going to do the speed grader option. I'm going into the grades. And we will find that column that I just entered right there. So I want to make sure, yes, I am on third period. Okay, so I'm just going to take a minute and enter all of these grades manually. And again, the reason I love entering grades into Canvas first is because sometimes students and parents get confused with why there's a certain grade in Canvas, but yet their grade in Power School or Smart shows different grade. So I like having both the grades the same in Canvas and Power School. That way everyone's on the same page. Okay, so I do have several that did with blanks. So I'm not sure what happened if they just, I do have 2 papers without names, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids who didn't even do it. So I'll just give all of them zeros. And then the 2 without names will hopefully claim their papers. So now that those are entered, I want to push this through to Power School. I don't want to wait till 2 a.m. tomorrow. I go to Actions, Sync to SIS, and it's scheduled. So I will check back here in about 5 minutes. I will refresh Power School to make sure that those did sync. Okay, I've waited a few minutes. So now I'm going into Power School to see if those grades synced. So I'll select the third period. Assignments, hopefully it's there. Oh, there it is. Act 2, Scene 2, lit terms. 26 out of 26 have scores. Checked off, they're all graded. So if I click on that assignment, you'll see all of the scores that I entered. Those match up to the ones that were in Canvas. So that worked. Now, if I go to my other class period, the 9th hour, the assignment is still there because it's the same course in Canvas, but it's 0 out of 26 because I have not yet put those scores in yet. So those are not in there. But once I enter those here, so all I would need to do, let me find that assignment. Let me go to 9th period. That'll be easier to find an empty column. Great. Right there. So Act 2, Scene 2, none of these have scores yet. Once I put in these scores, I won't push them through automatically today. I'll probably just wait for it to sync tomorrow morning. But those will show up as well. This is why I love Canvas. I love, love, love it. I know it's a lot of work initially to set up the assignments or modules, but really, once you get your modules established, it's super amazing to just have everything here and in PowerSchool identical. It really is helpful for the students. I've had multiple students tell me that it's really useful that they can just go into Canvas. Everything's there that they need. There's no question on what their grade is. They get an email every time something is graded or scored. It's amazing. I really love it. So reach out to me if you have questions about this Tech Fest session. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about Canvas grading, please email me. I'd be more than happy to meet with you or have a Google Meet or email or whatever it is you need. I'm here to help you figure this out. Once you figure it out, it's really great. So I hope you have a great summer and see you later. Bye.